I've got a request for a long-form video on how to create a laptop in Blender. I prepared this scene here. You can download it from the link in the video description. Select the collection notebook in the outliner and press 7 on the numpad to go to top view. Then we add with Shift A a plane. Then we go to edit mode and go to edge select mode. With GX we can slide the edge until the edge of the background image. We do the same on the other side. With a mouse wheel you can zoom in and out and align the edges even better. We need to align the lower edge with the lower edge of the background image. With GY we can slide the lower edge all the way down. We need to do the same for the upper edge. Switch to face select mode and select our plane. With 1 on the numpad we go to front view and we press E to extrude until the middle, and then we press E again to extrude to the bottom. The bottom of the case is much smaller, so we need to scale it down. Press S and scale it down until the diagonals here on the side match with the background image. I leave the front view and go to the back. I want a flat back side of the laptop, so I select one of the upper edges here and I will copy the Y value. Then I select the lower edge and insert the Y value. With 7 on the numpad we go to the top view again for some loop cuts. First we create 2 vertical loop cuts. With Ctrl R and 1 rotation with our mouse wheel, we create 2 vertical loop cuts and confirm with left click. With SX we scale the loop cuts until the edges of the keyboard indentations. Now we need 5 horizontal loop cuts. We press Ctrl R again and 5 rotation steps with our mouse wheel, and we confirm the loop cuts with left click. Deselect everything with Alt A and select the upper loop cut with Alt. With GY we shift the loop cut to the rotation axis of the screen. Deselect everything with Alt A again and select the next loop cut with Alt, and with GY we shift it until the upper edge of the keyboard indentation. Alt A again and with Alt select the next loop cut, and with GY we shift it to the lower end of the keyboard indentation. We skip the next loop cut and go to the last loop cut, and with Shift Y we slide it a little bit downwards. You can't see it in the reference, but we need the last 2 loop cuts for the mouse touchpad. Next we select this edge and scale it down with SX until we reach the black area. Select the middle edges of the lower loop cuts and press W and choose Subdivide. Enlarge the menu here on the bottom of the viewport and increase the number of cuts to 2. Select the new vertical edges and with FX scale it down a little bit. You need to eyeball the size of the touchpad. We leave the top view and go to the back again, and we switch to vertex mode. We need to do some fixing here. First we select the vertex at the edge and we copy the X position. Select the next vertex and insert the X position. Then select the 2 vertices following the loop cut and insert the X position again. We need to do this fix on the other side again. First select the vertex here at the edge and copy the X position. Select the next vertex and insert the X position, and select the following vertices and insert the X position again. Switch to face select mode and select this face, this face, and this face. And press delete on the keyboard and choose delete faces. Switch to edge select mode and select the upper edge and the lower edge and press F to insert a face. Then we switch to vertex select mode and we select the vertices around the hole here. And we press F again to insert a face. And we go to the other side. We select again all vertices around the hole and we press F again. When we navigate around our model, we see that this new face is a little bit tilted. Select the face in face select mode and press S, Y, 0 and the tilt is gone. So let's continue with the touchpad. We select the face in the middle and press E and extrude it down. Not much, just a little bit. Next we press 7 on the numpad again and go to top view and select this big face in the middle. And we press I to insert a new face and we try to align the new face to the edges of a keyboard indentation. We go to the side view and with GZ we try to lower the keyboard face a little bit. Switch to vertex select mode and select the outer edges of our case. With Shift D and Z we duplicate the vertices and move them up. With F we can insert a face again. Press 1 on the keyboard to go to the front view and press RX90 to rotate it 90 degrees around the X-axis. With GZ we move the screen plane upwards until it matches the background. With GY we move it back a little bit until this point. You only need a little bit space between the case and the screen. And we go to top view and with EY we can extrude it until it matches the background. Go to face mode and select it with L, that the whole thing is selected, and with GY move it back a little bit. With Ctrl R we create 2 vertical loop cuts and with SX we scale them to the width of our screen. We create 2 horizontal loop cuts and with SZ we scale them to the height of our screen. Below our screen we need another loop cut and we switch to face select mode. Select the face in the middle and with E we extrude it forward around this size. Select the edge select mode and select the lower and the upper edge and with Ctrl B we apply a bevel operation. Again with the mouse wheel you can control the number of edges inserted in the bevel operation. I go with 3 segments here. Switch to face select mode and select the face for the screen. With E we extrude it inwards a little bit. Go back to edge select mode and select the edges of the screen. And with Ctrl B we apply a bevel operation again. Next select the corner edges of the case. And with Ctrl B we apply a bevel operation again. Don't overdo it, because otherwise you get artifacts in this area here. We need to smooth out the corners. Go to face select mode and with Alt select the whole face band and with Shift Alt select the face band beneath. Go to Mesh, Shading and select Smooth Face. After this operation, we need to fix the transition of the middle edge. Go to Edge Select mode, Alt A to deselect everything, and with Alt select the whole loop cut. Go to Mesh, Normals, and select Split. When we switch to Object mode, we see some strange shading artifacts. In this area, for example, at the corners here and around the mouse pad. The solution to this problem is to mark every edge around this artifact with the operation Mesh and Normal Split. We do the same smoothing for the screen. We go to Face Select mode, and with Alt we select the whole loop. We go to Mesh and Shade Smooth. Next we need to smooth the face around the rotation axis. Select all these faces and go to Mesh, Shading, Smooth Faces. We go to Object mode again and we checked for artifacts. I already see some artifacts around this area here and around the corners. So we need to apply our repair fix again. We go back to Object mode, and with 7 on the numpad we go to the top view, and with Shift A we add a cube and we move it to this direction above this little square here. This is an USB port, and with a Boolean operation we subtract this cube from the original object and create a hole. Go to Edit mode and we select Face Select mode and scale the cube down. Zoom in a little bit. And with SX we scale it until this edge matches the edge of the background image. And with GY we move it a little bit up. And with SY we scale it down in this direction. Go to the side view with 3 on the numpad, and when you press 9 on the numpad after that, we can switch to the other side. With GZ we center the cube, and with SZ we scale it down on the Z axis until it has a size like this. We move it down a little bit so it is in the center of our band, and with Shift D and Y we duplicate it and we create a second USB slot. I forgot to check the position of a second USB port with a reference. I go to top view and I see a little deviation. I go to Edit mode again with Face Select mode, press L and select the whole cube. And with GY we can shift it in the right position. Before we apply the Boolean modifier, we need to check the normals of our object. Go to the overlay menu and select face orientation. We see everything is blue, that's okay. If you discover a red area or a complete object in red, go to Edit mode, select the whole object and choose the option Mesh, Normals, and select Recalculate Outside. The object should become blue in this mode and we can switch back to the normal mode. Go to Object mode, select our notebook, go to the Modifiers tab and select the Boolean modifier. Boolean modifier is already on the mode Difference, and with a picker select our USB ports. then apply the modifier. When we move the USB ports to the other side with GX, you can see that we have created 2 USB ports. On the other side, we select our USB ports and with GX, we plug it on this side into the case. We go to Edit mode and Face Select mode and select this one and delete it. And we need to scale down this one with SY. We make it a little bit thinner, and SZ to flatten it a little bit. And we select these edges, and with Ctrl B we apply a bevel operation. Now we apply a Boolean modifier again, select the notebook, go to the modifiers tab, select Boolean and select our cube and apply the modifier. Now we can delete the cube and we have created our USB-C port. When we go to Edit mode, we can select the whole loop in this USB-C port and go to Mesh, Shade and Smooth Faces. Again, we need to fix the artifacts. With Alt, I select the whole loop cut, and with Shift, I add these edges here, and we go to Mesh, Normals and Split. Now we need to model the keys. Go to Top View and go to your outliner and add a new collection. I name the collection first row. I made a collection for each rows of keys on the keyboard to keep things organized. Add a plane with Shift A and move the plane to the center of the escape key. Scale it down and we zoom in a little bit. Go to Edit mode and align the edges with the edges of a background. Deselect everything with Alt A and go to Edge Select mode and select the corner edges. Go to Top View and apply a bevel operation so that the corners of our key match with the corners of the key in the background. Now we see that I'm not perfectly aligned on the top side. I go to Vertex mode. With Alt A, deselect everything. Select the X-ray mode, and with B I can draw a frame around the upper vertices, and with GY I move them slightly downwards. I do the same with the lower vertices. With GY I bring them up a little bit. With the X-ray mode and the bounding box selection we can adjust the keys for the other shapes. For example, when we go back to Edit mode, with Shift D we duplicate the key, and with Y we drag it down, and I try to align the upper left corner, and I go back to Edit mode, and with B I select the vertices on the right side. With GX I move the corner over here, and with Alt A I deselect everything, and with B I select the lower corners, and with GY I bring them down here. And now I have created a key of the upper shape, and the same principle applies to these special keys here, Tab, Caps Lock and the spacebar, for example. I go back to Face Select mode, deactivate the X-ray mode, and with Alt I select the whole face band again, and with Mesh, Shade, Smooth Faces I smooth them out. I go back to Edge Select mode, select the upper loop and the lower loop, and with Mesh, Normals, Split I fix the shading artifacts. I go back to object mode and select our escape key. And again with face select mode, mesh, shade smooth, and edge select mode, select the upper and lower edge, and select normals, split. I go back to object mode and select our keys and move them down again. And I forgot to create a collection for the keys of a second row. And I move this key into the second collection. And now we need to duplicate the escape key. With Shift D, X, I try to align the duplicate key perfect to the F1 key. And then I can press Shift R to repeat this operation and to fill the whole line with keys. Okay, you can see here I was not precise enough. I go to the top view again, and with GX I align the keys. Now you can model all the keys on the keyboard. Next step is I will show you how to create the labels. With Shift A we add a text and go to edit mode and delete the text and type in capital letters ESC and go to object mode again. In the font menu go to font, regular, and choose the font. I chose Arial Unicode MS Regular and I will set the extrude value to 0.1. Now move our escape text to the key and scale it down. I think we have a perfect match, and move it up a little bit that we can see the relief on the key. With this method you can create all the labels for your keys, except the arrows. This is a little homework for you to model the arrows for your keyboard. When we finish creating the keyboard, there's one last step to do for the modeling part. Go to edit mode and select our screen and attach it back to the laptop. For the materials of the notebook I was very lazy, but it worked out in the rendering. The main case is a lighter gray, and I left all the other sliders on default. For the screen case it was a darker gray, and the screen itself it's very reflective, and I cranked up the specular and lowered the roughness. The keys are a separate object, and here I chose a very dark gray. Of course the modeling process and texturing process must not end here. Perhaps you want to add some stickers from the CPU manufacturer or the notebook manufacturer or logo on the back. You can add some feet or add more details to the USB ports or add a camera. You can also plug in a texture or a movie into the base color of the screen, and when you render the scene, this scene or movie is displayed on this notebook display.